This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, brought to you by the Iowa Soybean Association, your daily recap of the information that affects Iowa's farmers, producers, and consumers, right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning broadcast team of Dustin Hoffman, Riley Smith, and Mark Magnuson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Dustin Hoffman.
Well, good day, everyone, and welcome to Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Dustin Huffman. Today is Thursday, February the 16th, 2023. Hard to believe we're in the second half of the second month of the year already, but we're glad that you could come along with us today. Coming up in today's show, I talk with Iowa Ag Secretary Mike Naig. We also have a check of your snowy ag weather outlook. And first, we're going to talk about those markets. It's time now for the Ag Matters PM Closing Market Summary, your source for market analysis and settlement prices from the day's trade in Chicago, courtesy of the folks at agmarket.net. Well, we're at the end of another trading day, and it's time to catch up with Kaden Sweeney of agmarket.net. Kaden, what did we see overall in those grain markets to start the day here?
Yeah, the big story today is a pretty quiet market, especially when you look at corn and beans mostly just kind of feathered around either side of unchanged today. Started to work lower a little bit around 11 and closing pretty close to even. So pretty quiet when you're just looking at flat price. The big story, if you want one, really is going to be bean spreads. March compared to new crop November down close to 9 cents today. That spread's lost 20 cents on the week. So, if you subscribe to the notion that spreads kind of go ahead of flat price, it may not be looking too good for the bean market because that spread's been pretty weak all week.
And soybeans having the thing we've been watching closely. I mean, yes, ours aren't on the ground yet, but we haven't moved a whole lot of them. And Brazil looking to be getting more than they're going to know what to do with, even with Argentina losing some with dryness. It looks like we're going to start to see some of those supplies, global supplies, come up a little bit, barring any major problems down south.
Yeah, I've kind of felt, at least for the past 2 weeks, that the bean market to me has felt a little bit heavy just whenever you look at, the crop that Brazil's getting ready to bring to the market. They've been a little bit slow progress-wise in doing so. I think maybe that's kind of why you saw the strength that you did, kind of last week. But I don't know, if you just compare Brazil and Argentina together this year, they're going to be close to 20 million metric tons more production this year as compared to last year. So that's why you're not seeing, $17, $18 beans this year. But to me, 15.50 still maybe a little bit high like we were earlier. So I guess I'm a little bit I'm cautious bean market right now.
Now, if producers out there have, talking about beans quick here, if they've made some of those plans and they still have time to alter a few things, I mean, what kind of things should they be thinking about if they need to tweak their plans a little bit for marketing this year's crop?
Yeah, if you're talking old crop first, the board's still strong. We're still well over 15. I think, a lot of guys that are holding beans now are mostly down to gambling bushels. So my point is, I think you can probably get pretty decent cash bids out there if you go looking for it on old crop wise. New crop, like I said, the spread's working. So new crop was actually up, 8-9 cents today. I'm getting close to $14. If it's me, I've got offers in, kind of looking to move some beans. If you're not ready to let go of anything HTA wise or cash wise yet, at least be looking at some sort of put strategy just to really lock this thing in, just in case there's a lot of growing season left, and if it goes well, we could be susceptible to some downside.
And of course, we don't know what our growing season's going to bring either. We're hopeful that with weather turning around in Brazil for their growing, that we may see some of that ourselves. Of course, we do have a long way to go to make up some of the drought years we've had here, at least in the Western Corn Belt. If we get a good crop on top of that, that's just going to further exacerbate and put more weight onto those markets.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Exactly right. I'm no meteorologist. We've had a couple kind of at our conference and on our webinars lately. They kind of feel like this year's forecast looks a little bit better than last year's did. Feel like we're going to have a little bit better weather, especially west of the Mississippi. So again, it's anybody's guess at this point in the game. But I do think as a farmer, as a producer, you have to be thinking to yourself, what's my worst case and how do I protect that going forward? Like you said, there's still a lot to be done with acres, with demand, with potentially renewable diesel coming in 24. But I still think it's wise and prudent to have your eye out for the worst case and make sure you're protected from it.
Now, we have talked a lot about soybeans and overall marketing, but what about corn? Was there anything major that's really moving them one way or another?
Yeah, corn, the big story, in my opinion, from now on is how do our exports do over the next couple of months? I think we're going to be well below where we were the last 2 years. Most everybody in the market feels that way. The big question is, where do we come in as compared to where the USDA is at on February WASD? In my opinion, we really need to get going, or else we're going to fall a little bit short again. We've had 3 weeks in a row of sales being decent, but I still think we're not quite to the pace we need to be. So, in my opinion, that's the biggest question, at least on old crop, is what do exports do? And new crop quickly, you got to be wondering what acres are going to do. Reuters put out today, a guess of 92 million. If we go 92 million with a mid 170s, high 170s yield, all of a sudden the core market doesn't look very good at all.
Now, moving over to the livestock side of things, Kaden, I mean, cattle and hogs have had some interesting past few days. What did we see out there today?
Yeah, hogs finally found a friend earlier in the week. Kind of recovering after that yesterday and today. Not too much going on there, just down a little bit. Cattle not doing too much either, both lower on the day. In my opinion, fats broke the 10-day with some conviction, traded lower, kind of recovered some, but I don't feel super great about fats just right now. Long term still looks great. Supply fundamentals look great. I just think for seasonals and whatnot, I think we're a little bit cautious right now, fat cattle.
All right. Well, if folks want to talk some of these market strategies and look into what their options are, how do they get in touch with agmarket.net?
Yes, sir. Just go to our website. You can reach any of our brokers from there, and we can kind of fine tune something that works for you and your operation, and as well as get you signed up for 30-day free trial of our research. If you want to reach me directly, my line is 815-691-2672.
All right, Kaden, we thank you so much for the insight, and we'll look forward to talking to you again next week.
Yeah, thanks, Dustin. I appreciate it. See you then.
And that again was Kaden Sweeney of agmarket.net. Let's go ahead and run down those closing numbers. That's courtesy of the folks at Bar Chart. March corn was down a quarter cent at 6.76 even. May up a penny at 6.75 even. December new crop down 1 3/4 at 5.93 1/2. March soybeans up 3/4 at 15.26 1/2. May up 1 3/4 at 15.21 1/4. November new crop up 8 3/4 at 13.83 3/4. Soy meal for May up 30 cents at 4.7520. Soy oil 71 cents higher at 62.15. Chicago wheat down 4 at 7.76 1/4. Minneapolis spring wheat closed up 6 1/2 at 9.23 3/4. Kansas wheat up 4 1/4 at 8.87 1/4. May oats down 1 1/4 at 3.51 1/2. April live cattle 52 cents lower at 164.07. March feeders $1.10 lower at 186.22. April lean hogs down 72 cents at 85.77. April pork cutouts 45 cents lower at 92.45. And Class 3 milk for February down 3 cents at 17.90. And that's been our Ag Market Recap. We're going to take a short break and hear from our sponsors, the Iowa Soybean Association and the Soy Checkoff. And when we come back, I talk with Iowa Agriculture Secretary Mike Naig. This is Ag Matters PM.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
Welcome back to AMPM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Dustin Huffman. Well, it's time once again for our monthly chat with Iowa Ag Secretary Mike Naig. And one of the topics we were starting to hint at last month, but putting it off till this month, was wish lists that they have for the new farm bill that's scheduled to come out this year. And of course, every state has got things that they want to have on it. And of course, that's something that always has to be compromised on in the federal government. But we talked a little bit with the secretary about things that he hopes to see come out of this new legislation. So last month, we started to talk a little bit about hinting at the farm bill. We know that's top of the line for policy in the United States, and everybody's always got wish lists and things they want to see on it. From a IDAL's perspective, Secretary, what kind of things are you hoping to see come out of these discussions and hopefully make that farm bill?
Yes, the farm bill is definitely, it is the top issue from a policy standpoint federally this year. I've just gotten back from my National Association of State Departments of Ag meeting, NASDA. That was in Washington, D.C. And so absolutely farm bill dominated the discussion. I always start with, and I think I told you this last time we talked, there's 12 titles in the farm bill, and every one of them has something that impacts the state of Iowa. And so we're going to have opinions on lots of programs and things within each of those titles. But I always start from the top with, what are some of the most important things that we've got to ensure are strong in this farm bill? The top, in my mind, is a strong crop insurance program, because we can break things down into two categories: things you can control and things you can't control. And crop insurance helps you manage the risk around the things you can't control. And it is critically important. So if we're going to talk about resiliency in agriculture and really mean that we want to do things that support resiliency and the ability to be productive in the face of challenges, then you've got to invest in those types of programs. So right off the top, that's one of my top items. But really, there's just a series of things that we could get into that'll be important to the state of Iowa.
Now, when we talk about crop insurance, obviously it's going to be a hard sell to some of the legislators that are not rural based, that they don't always understand it, because in 2018 crop prices were not good, and we were thinking, okay, we need this safety net, we need to know that that's there. And right now they're going to turn around and say, well, soybeans are a lot higher than they were, almost 100% higher than they were. Corn is higher than it was. Do you guys really need this? But they also got to understand this is a 5-year window. We don't know what's going to happen 6 months from now, especially if we get a good crop on top of Brazil's good crop.
That is so spot on. First of all, at the top of this, we would say that farm bills are always challenging in that it's not just the farm legislators who are voting on this, right? Every member of Congress is going to take a vote on this, and you've got many, many members who have zero ag land in their districts. So think of Randy Feenstra, one of the largest and most valuable ag congressional districts in the country, versus a member of Congress from Los Angeles County. And why is it that individual needs to think about and care about a farm bill? And so, one, there's always a huge education ramp up that's needed. And especially in a year like this, where there is a significant percent of the members of Congress are new, and a significant percent that may not be new, or maybe 1 or 2 terms in, but they've never voted on a farm bill. And so that's where farm groups and coalitions and groups like NASDA need to make sure that we're educating folks on the importance of all these different programs. But, again, I would bring it back to that this is a farm and a food bill. A significant percent, 80+% of the farm bill is actually supplemental nutrition. And that's as it should be, because you got to have people from all different sides wanting to vote for this bill. And that's sort of historically how that's accomplished. I would also note that farm bills are historically bipartisan, and that when there's conflict that arises, issues to be sorted through, it's oftentimes that it's regional in nature, or it's dairy states versus sugar beets versus wheat versus cotton. It's regional and different commodities versus each other, where some of those disagreements occur. So I'm still optimistic that even though it's a tight schedule, that we will in fact see a farm bill completed in this calendar year. Speaker McCarthy has said he wants it to be done. That's a big indicator that we can get something accomplished.
Now, of course, as you said, you just got done meeting with a lot of your counterparts from around the country. I mean, what kind of things did you talk about besides farm bill?
Yeah, again, it's back to this creating back to basics, some of the essential things that we need. So we focused heavily on trade and markets for products of all kinds, and especially how do we gain a footing in emerging markets, and excited about that. I'm state of Iowa. I'll be leading 2 trade missions here to Southeast Asia in the next 6 weeks or so. And so it's good to be back on the road. So we talked a lot about trade. We talked a lot about foreign animal diseases as well. So high-path avian influenza, but also our planning around how do we prepare for an African swine fever. Now, again, each of those categories, by the way, has a farm bill nexus as well. So we did talk about some of those policies, but I would say, and then workforce was maybe the third item, that everybody's got challenges, and we see it all across ag. And what are the creative ways that we can attract more people into agriculture? I would say those would be some of the top issues that we focused on this year.
Now, kind of tying that together, then, you as you mentioned, African swine fever, avian influenza also are part of the farm bill. What kind of things are we hoping to get out of that? I mean, obviously, we're seeing avian influenza possibly being a longer fight than we anticipated a year ago. In fact, we just heard it was found in 2 new countries in South America. So this is a growing problem in this whole hemisphere.
It is. First of all, 48 states in the United States have dealt with it this year. It's a huge outbreak, now the largest foreign animal disease outbreak in U.S. history. We have to expect that we're once again going to be dealing with it this spring. We can hope that we won't, but we have to plan as though we are. There's many things that then materialize again in a farm bill discussion around, coming out of last farm bill, creating a vaccine bank for, I think it was intended to at least start with a foot and mouth disease vaccine bank. We need to look at ASF vaccine as well. And also, there's lots of conversations around how do we build more capacity to respond to outbreaks. And so that's everything from support for Iowa State's vet diagnostic lab, and also ensuring that states have resources to hire veterinarians. And boy, hiring vets right now is very, very challenging. So those are some things. And then, of course, there's trade implications for all of that. And how do we encourage regionalization? So, if we've got a problem in one part of the country with one disease outbreak, that it doesn't impact exporters in another, if you can prove that you can keep those separate. So some policy discussions like that. And again, a lot of support for industry and for the capacity to respond to diseases. That'll be a focus for Farm Bill as well.
That again was Iowa Agriculture Secretary Mike Naig. Now let's go ahead and take a look at that ag weather outlook. Well, we definitely have the snowy day here in Des Moines. Schools got canceled early this morning. It was a little interesting making the commute downtown here today, but all in all, it could have been a lot worse. It's just a nice powder snow. How long is it going to last? Well, it looks like it might taper off. Let's see what the National Weather Service has to say for the next 24 hours. Well, as I said, that snow fell throughout the day today as we expect the snow to start tapering off west to east across the state. We saw highs today anywhere from the mid-20s to the low 30s. Now, tonight, skies are going to begin to clear across the state, and it's going to be cold. We're going to see temperatures from the low single digits up to about 11 degrees. And then sunshine back tomorrow, a little bit warmer, as we'll see those temps start to build in, warmer from the west. We'll see highs anywhere from the low 20s to the mid-30s. Taking a look at the affiliate weather map, tomorrow Cherokee will be the warm spot, sunny skies and 34, Shenandoah sunny and 32, Des Moines looks to be sunny and 31, Waterloo and Albia both looking at sunny skies and 28, Clinton will be the cold spot, sunny skies and 23 degrees. For more detailed forecasts in your area, tune to your local Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network affiliate. And that's been our Ag Weather Outlook. And with that, we're at the end of today's show. You can find all our content online at iowaagnet.com. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and on our YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon on YouTube, and you'll get notified every time we put out a new video product. Also, don't forget about our free Twice Daily Market podcasts. You can find them on Apple, Amazon, Google, Spotify, and Podbean. From the IARN studios in Des Moines, I'm Dustin Huffman. For Mark Magnuson and Riley Smith, we thank you for watching. This has been Ag Matters PM.